Thank you so much. One big round of applause, folks. Thanks for coming out. Next slide. Thank you. Thank you. Urban Ninja, damn! We're excited. That's some David Bowie here. Thanks, not much. Next, I'd like to bring up our imprint director, Mr. Ryan Koo.
Ryan, all right. He puts off the dollar.
Daniel Wu finished talking, and now it's weird. Not the crowd. But I don't blame them. How's everyone doing? Holding up? Is that We're almost there. Almost there. I promise you this will be worth your while. Hopefully. The reason people run the present.
Oh, you'll like it.
You gotta start a show on YouTube.
Apparently that's the model. Okay, well, hopefully we still have some marketing focused people in the crowd. And you know, what we want to do to kind of start wrapping things up today was talk about, we brought you all here today to you know, just be exposed to new things that maybe you hadn't seen before, to just put some obviously very talented and passionate people in front of you to help inspire you. You know, as professional marketers, curiosity and inspiration are really kind of lifeblood. That's what leads to really great marketing, in my perspective. But what we want to do is present a viewpoint so that as you're inspired by, you know, creators and people who create culture and people who create art, you know, as you come across that content, just maybe some things to remember so that you can collaborate in a way that leads to, again, something great. So really, it's just two basic sections. One, we're going to talk about, you know, what are just things to remember as you, as a professional marketer, try to apply pop culture into whatever brand efforts you might be undertaking. And the second one is going to be kind of a short example, but we're going to talk about a brand application. And it actually came up today, so this is a little impromptu. But after John's keynote address this morning, it kind of struck me that there may be a more relevant example. So we're going to try and bring it full circle with how we started the day off. Three things about pop culture. I think these are three very basic principles that you should remember when you're trying to use pop culture. That is to always be authentic, always trying to be relevant, and always, most of all, respect the creators. And, you know, a lot of people say, yeah, duh, why wouldn't you do that? But I think anyone who's ever worked in a high-pressure environment, especially corporate environment, knows that when deadlines are looming and you have objectives, that it's the simple principles that fly out the window first. The simple principles get replaced by more need-based things. So I need to get this done, I need to make my media plan, I need to make my deadline. So it bears repeating and sort of stressing why these are important as you go out and try to apply pop culture. So when we say authenticity, you know, the first question you should ask yourself is, do you have a holistic understanding of the culture or the trend? And what we mean by that is, do you know the history, where it's been, where it is now, who are the tastemakers, who are the leaders, you know, what's the mythology of that particular pop culture element, and where's it going? Because if you don't have that holistic understanding, then really applying that pop culture within your brand efforts authentically is going to be a challenge. I think it'll come off as shallow and surface, and the people that you're trying to engage are going to see that and they're going to smell it. The second thing, and this is, you know, having worked in the agency realm for a while, this is always a really big challenge. But when you collaborate with an outside creative force, you need to be willing to cede some of that creative control over to them. That means that it's not going to be sort of an order-taking dynamic. You have to understand that as you heard today, these people have been doing this. This is their life. They chose one thing that they're passionate about, and they put everything they had into it. So it doesn't matter if you're a Fortune 500 brand and you're coming in, you have a big media spend, and you're going to give them all this exposure. If they feel like they don't have the freedom to really express themselves authentically, then 9 times out of 10, that dynamic's going to go sour. The project's probably not going to achieve what you hoped it would. When we talk about relevancy, this is about, not putting a square peg in a round hole in terms of brand and pop culture. So the first question to ask yourself are, what are the touch points that your brand and the pop culture element share? And when we say touch points, that's kind of a vague word, but that can mean anything from, a consumer profile, media, brand values, point of view on something. Those are really the places that you want to share some relevance with each other, so that there's a natural fit. And the second one's important too, because if you share values, then you should be able to contribute values to each other. So each party should be able to walk away and think and benefit from it. It can't be parasitic. And oftentimes in marketing, things become parasitic very rapidly. So always making sure that each party's sort of needs and desires are being fulfilled. And respect, and I think this is just, again, it's a very basic concept, but one that, unfortunately we see being ignored in a lot of efforts these days. If you want to use someone's content, if you're inspired by what they've created, use them. Go to them. Don't replicate. Don't try and fake it. Go to the source. Go to the original creators. And then the second point is, don't hide them behind the scenes, because these creators are part of the story. They're part of why you're using or partnering with them in any effort. So why go through all that trouble and put them behind the scenes? Put them at the front, because they're going to bring you the attention, the engagement that you as a brand marketing professional, that's what you're seeking out. So again, those are 3 very foundational kind of duh things to say. But again, when you get busy and you're working with your agency partners, it's good to take a minute and vet out what you're doing through those 3 questions, or 3 areas, and to see if it passes muster. In the original presentation, some of you were here for yesterday, we talked about a couple of different brand applications, Louis Vuitton, Absolute Vodka, and Subaru. And we were going to choose one to present today, but then I heard John Jay's keynote address, and I started to realize that, maybe there was a better example. And I think the example that, he obviously presented was Nike. And of any large major corporation in the world, any large and major brand, Nike is probably the best at not only collaborating with pop culture creators, but really creating pop culture in and of itself. So we lack the visuals, we lack the sizzle, but again, it bears repeating and looking back at some of the things that John mentioned in his keynote address and how it plays out here. So whenever John introduced one of the campaigns, the first thing he said was, in any market, they had to look at the world, look at the brand through the consumer's eyes, because again, it was all about adapting. It wasn't coming in and making the Japanese market bow down to what Nike is in America. It was coming in and figuring out what does Nike mean in the Japanese context. So finding relevancy and adapting relevancy. And to that point, so they not only adapted the brand, but they adapted the spirit, and sometimes even the culture of the sport they were promoting. So what about basketball is intriguing to Japanese consumers or Chinese consumers? And it's going through that exercise, again, that leads them to, I think, create great, relevant work. And then when John talked about working with graph artists or DJs or artists, he always mentioned the fact that they were all mutually benefiting. Nike was getting something, the brand was getting something, but the creators were also getting something out of it. It wasn't parasitic, it was definitely synergistic. And again, those are cultural, philosophical, sometimes esoteric ideas, but you see them played out consistently in great creative campaigns. And when we talk about, or when John talked about the campaigns, he mentioned ideas such as creating culture from the inside. You know, not just being an outside observer of pop culture, but really as an agency, White and Canny, and as a brand, getting inside the pop culture and really fostering that culture. So being a part of it, contributing to it, and giving back to it. So again, not being parasitic. And then, again, giving platforms to people who have mastered their art or are notables. So the musicians, the graph artists, the DJs. The brand executions were just as much promotion for the brand as it was for the artist. And I think, again, that's a lot of the reason why you see the great work you saw up on screen in the keynote address. And the last thing is respect. So again, I think this came through pretty clearly in all the examples John mentioned this morning. So you always talk about going straight to the source, always about collaborating with people who had created something of worth. And again, celebrating that idea or the work that they had created and not trying to replicate it. You know, it's sometimes a lot easier and cheaper to see something, be inspired, and then try to, for lack of a better word, rip it off. There's a lot less work involved in that. But if you didn't have DJ Crush's face in that commercial, if you didn't have the backstory of some of those graph artists, then those campaigns aren't what they are. Those campaigns just become kind of an aesthetic exercise with a logo. So you lose half the value and half the story. So, you know, again, placing creators at the forefront of the effort was always, you know, part of those campaigns. So I know we lost a lot of our audience, but the reason we put on these conferences, the reason we, you know, bring these amazing people in front of you and make an effort to bring marketers into the room is because collaboration is really the next frontier. You know, you have as professional marketers something they probably desire, which is exposure and budgets and the ability to fund bigger scale projects. They have something that marketers are seeking, which is true engagement with the consumer. You know, it came through in the blogging panel, came through in the street. They're so dialed in to the consumer that they don't see a separation between themselves and the consuming buying public. So that collaboration, while not always, you know, easy and not always smooth, really is going to be the thing that, you know, drives, I think, the next generation of great marketing efforts. So it kind of goes to the whole point of the conference. But hopefully it didn't put you all to sleep, but very simple.
Next week, yeah. Just call me so we got her stuff. He's got to lose 30 pounds this week. A resident graduate right here. How's it going? Imprint 2007. If you're not here this year, you should come next year. Pretty ladies, good photographers, it's all here, man.
For giving up Prius, but maybe model of Prius. But thank you very much. This is going to be kind of like a wrap up, but it's going to be really quickly. For those of you who didn't get a chance to enjoy the Pika Pika experience at the other workshop, we're kind of going to show you what went on, and it's really, really fascinating. I know that a lot of you might have seen the Sprint commercial, but the group of people that did the Sprint commercial actually is a wannabe. This is where it all started, and he's going to show a clip of what it's all about, and then also show some of the work that you all have done. So before the really quick wrap up, I'm going to have them come up and finish.
It's okay. Oh, sorry, no sound.
We started Pika Pika 2 years ago. What is Pika Pika? Pika Pika is an abstract animation film made with flashlights. A series of photographs using long exposures are edited together to make them appear as an animation. History. 2005 summer. We are invited to a workshop to explain how the animation works. The audience ranged from a 3 years old to a 60 years old. We wondered how to make the workshop interactive and interesting for all ages. We came up with the Pika Pika concept, where an entire audience can join with a flashlight and be a part of the animation. We started to develop Pika Pika and put our projects online. Pika Pika spread worldwide very quickly.
After a long day like this, you're always almost left speechless, and it has a little bit to do with exhaustion, of course, but mainly I think that when we put this imprint together, we really wanted to get really great minds come here and share their experience with us. And today, I really think that, and pat ourselves on the shoulder, is that I think we were able to do that. But aside from the individual brilliance that you've seen today, what's really intriguing to me is the collective energy that you see here. And John Jay said it very well in terms of saying that this is the time for Asian Americans in terms of establishing ourselves. And I don't think that we could do it as an individual. We have to do it collectively. And the collective energy that we felt today, the way that people interacted with each other, and the questions that you got, it really is time, and we can't do it ourselves. And all the industries that were represented here, I'm in advertising, a lot of us are in marketing, a lot of people that were here were in streetwear. I mean, they're in industries that I would never aspire to be in, like the jumping ninja and the boxer. Dan, I love you, but I will never be, aspire to be. You're not in. Your energy is inspiring to me, but I will never aspire to be you, because I want my ear to be nice and good looking. But I think what's important is that we really do want to continue this discussion. We really do want to continue to have this collective energy and create a leverage that that we don't get brushed aside. Asian Americans should not be brushed aside, from a political standpoint, from an art standpoint, and today I think we really, really demonstrated that. We hope to see you next year again, 2008 Imprint. We go through this denial in terms of saying we're never going to do this again, but at the end of the day, you go like, well, when are we going to do it next year? And that's basically where I am right now. We're thinking about next year. And I would love to hear from all of you in terms of thinking what kind of speakers you would like to see, what kind of topic you would like to listen to, and so that we could start this planning process again. Again, thank you very much. And I am going to announce the winner of the phone. I think you have to be here to win. So Paul Andre de Vera.
Yes.
Oh, you did? Oh, lucky you. It's a very cool phone that you got. So, and then Mark Lai got a mug set. If anyone knows Mark, Tell him he missed out by not staying. Kareem Pani. Oh, it's Rick, man. Is it for real?
That's right.
You won
A lovely mug
beautiful
set.
mug set, yes.
All right.
And Janet Lee. Oh, wow. See, I'm so glad that we got to give. I was just so afraid that, you know, these are people who are not here are going to win. I mean, this is really great. I love it. Christine Liu from Turner Broadcasting. I think she left. I saw her leave. And then the last one is, no, actually, Morgan Stern also won a lovely set of our Inner Trend mug. Coffee tastes better, tea tastes better in our mug.
That's right.
Believe me. And also, we have a reception at Cafe Akira. Shochu, we left the alcohol beverage for the best people. So we have shochu from Anheuser-Busch, and I think from who else? I think I forgot. Beer from Anheuser-Busch. So get smashed after a long day. But I do want to, if you could indulge me just for a few minutes, is that, and you know, our staff really worked hard to get this going. You know, this is really a germ of an idea that I had, and I wouldn't say that I had nothing to do with it, but I certainly had nothing to do with making this happen. But our staff, you know, Tiffany Chi, I know that some of you as a speaker have talked to her. She has been staying at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning, poor girl, you know, getting this badges. And Martha Huang, you know, I know she's stressing out over there because I said that, you know, if this AV thing screw up again, I'm going to chop your head off. I almost did, but, you know, shit happens. Everyone knows that shit happens, don't we, right? You know, AV, right. And it went smooth and no one was offended, and I think she did a wonderful job. So thank you, Martha, for doing such a great job. And, staff that was here, people who were manning the tech booth, you know, those are new technology to us, so it's not as though we knew what we were doing, but I know that they were able to, Catherine and Paul and everyone was able to, I hope, answer your questions very well. Again, and all Dorothy who fell and she was sent to emergency room because it was too dark at Pika Pika. So leave it to the professionals. Pika Pika, you know, if it's too dark, do it in a flat land and don't do it on a hill. Again, you know, all of you here, Intertrend people, I just really am grateful. I mean, if this was a success and if I look good, it's because you guys made me look good. I mean, you know I don't brag about my company quite often because I'm so modest. Right? Mm-hmm. But we really, Intertrend people, I mean, but don't try to recruit them. We have the best people in our industry. Intertrend has the best people. So I love you all and thank you very much. And then of course another shout out to Giant Robot, Eric, the sweet shit that we have. This is what happens. You know. The craft is smelling quite good, you know. But the Giant Robot people made it all happen. Martin, and I know that you have a lot of Giant Robot people. Kate is here, the money girl. But Giant Robot is, you know, what a great collaboration it is. And I know that you're loath to sell your soul, but I hope that this selling of the soul wasn't too painful for you. And we have to start thinking about next year too. So thank you very much. Please go and enjoy the free beer and free shochu. It's alcohol. It's 18% alcohol. What more? 13%. What more can you know, you could disinfect yourself with that shit. So, you know, let's have fun. Thank you very much.
All right.